viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Hana Theresya Nisa. Let's watch this video. Hello viewers, welcome to Poetry Final Test. So first, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Hana Theresya Nisa. I am from Lampung. I was born on March 31st, 2001. I am 19 years old. My dreams are young motivator, poet, and writer. Yeah, this is my ID, 321-180005. I am an English literature of Aki University, Semarang. So, what are we going to discuss? Well, we are going to discuss Death, Be Not Proud by John Donne. Right. First, who is John Donne? Yes, this is the picture. John Donne. He was born on January 22nd, 1572, and he was dead on March 31st, 1631. He was an English poet, scholar, soldier, and secretary born into a Catholic family, a remnant of the Catholic revival, who reluctantly became a cleric in the Church of England. He was then of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. He is considered the preeminent representative of the metaphysical poets. His poetical works are known for their metaphorical and sensual style and include sonnets, love poems, religious poems, Latin translation, epigrams, elegies, songs, and satires. He is also known for his sermons. Next, Donne's style is characterized by abrupt openings and various paradox, ironies, dislocations. These features, along with his frequent dramatic or everyday speech rhythms, his dense syntax, and his thought eloquence, were both a reaction against the smoothness of conventional Elizabethan poetry and an adaptation into English of European Baroque and Mannerist techniques. His early career was marked by poetry that bore immense knowledge of English society, and he met that knowledge with sharp criticism. Another important theme in Donne's poetry is the idea of true religion, something that he spent much time considering and about which he often theorized. He wrote secular poems as well as erotic and love poems. He is particularly famous for his mastery and metaphysical concepts. Next, despite his great education and poetic talents, Donne lived in poverty of several years, relying heavily on wealthy friends. He spent much of the money he inherited during and after his education on womanizing literature, pastimes, and travel. In 1601, Donne secretly married Anne More, with whom he had 12 children. In 1615, he was ordained deacon and then Anglican priest, although he did not want to take holy orders and only did so because the king ordered it. He also served as a member of parliament in 1601 and in 1614. So, what happened to death by him. Alright. Sonnet 10, also known by its opening words as "Thou be not proud," is a 14-line poem or sonnet by English poet John Donne, one of leading figures in the metaphysical poets group of 17th century English literature. Written between February and August 1609, it was first published posthumously in 1633. Next, it is included as one of the 19 sonnets that comprise Donne's holy sonnets of divine meditations among his best known works. Most editions number the poem as the 10th in the sonnet sequence, which follows the order of poems in the Westmoreland manuscript. The most complete arrangement of the cycle discovered in the late 19th century. However, two editions published shortly after Donne that included the sonnet in a different order, where this poem appears as 11th in the Songs and Sonnets published 1633 and 6th in Divine Meditation published 1635. Thou be not proud present an argument against the power of death. Addressing that as a person, the speaker warns that against pride in his power. Such power in merely an illusion, and the end death thinks it brings to man and woman is in fact a rest from world weariness, from its alleged victims. The poet criticized death as a slave to other force, faith, chains, kings, and desperate man. That is not in control, for variety of other powers exercise their volition in taking lives. Even in the rest it brings death is inferior to drugs. Finally, the speaker predicts the end of death itself, starting that thou shalt die. Well, the fact of death. Donne suffered a major illness that brought him close to death during his 8th year as an Anglican minister. The illness may have been typhoid fever, but in recent years it has been shown that he may have had a relapsing fever in combination with other illnesses. The sonnet has an ABBA, ABBA, CDD, CAE rhyme scheme. The last line of this to 1 Corinthians chapter 15:26. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. The poem's opening words are echoed in a contemporary poem, "Thou be not proud, thy hand give not this blow," sometimes attributed to Donne but more likely by his patron Lucy Harrington Russell, Countess of Bedford. Well, welcome to Poetry Analysis with me, Hana Theresya Nisa. Okay, before we start to analyze the poem, first, I would like to show the first stanza of this poem. Alright. "That be not proud, thou some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkst thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. And sonnets, our past men, thee do go, rats of their bones and souls, they'll be free. Well, this is the analysis. John Donne, through his poem, wants to convey that in life there must be death. But in the title and first line of the first stanza, John clearly said in personification of death, "Death, be not proud," which means that John is trying to explain that the deaf person should not be proud of himself. Although in real life, we clearly know that many people are afraid to die. The reasons are also many. They are afraid to die because they have not been successful. They are afraid to die because they are not rich. They cannot make their loved ones happy. They are also afraid of dying because many dreams are being fought for but not yet realized. Even worse, some of them even fear that for fear of going to hell. This is also expressed by John in the next verse. Thou some have called thee mighty and dreadful. But after the commas in the line, John again said, "For thou art not so." This means John conveys the fact that death is actually not mighty and or terrible. John's belief in that matter is also reflected in the fourth line in the last sentence. He asserted, "Nor yet canst thou kill me." John firmly believed that death could not kill him. This poem really describes that we see from the 4th to the 8th row of the first stanza. John tries to expose the fact that at that, things that happen are the same as resting and sleeping. Eyes closed, body supine, all seem like fun, but the illusion of that in humans is always terrible. Terrible, he said, with thy pictures be. He also explained that our past man with thee to go. We, in that line, seems to describe the relationship between humans, God, and death. Because this poem speaks of death, while death is directed at God, and those who experience death are humans. Alright, welcome to the second stanza. Thou art slave to fate, chains, kings, and the spirit man. And thus with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And popular charms can make us sleep as well and better than thy scroll. Why as well as thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and that shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Then in the second stanza at the beginning of the line, John again spoke to death. Thou art slave to fate, chains, kings, and dispartment, and thus with poison, war, and sickness dwell. Here John tried to explain very firmly to humans that in fact the death was only a slave to those who did not win death. But that is poison, war, and disease for people who are in despair. Then, lined up 3 and 4 in the second stanza, John compares death and charms, which can make a person fall asleep. But what charms does is better? He asks, why swellest thou then? John seemed to personify death again. Then at the end of the poem, he wrote, "One short sleep and past, we wake eternally, and that shall be no more." He tried to convince humans that after death, there is a new life. As a Catholic and a high priest in his day, this belief relates to the coming of Jesus Christ for the second time at the end of time. And after that, a new life with God, the Father, in heaven will begin. And John said at the same time commanded the third for the last time in the poem, "That thou shalt die." So, conclusion is, I really like this poem from the first glance. This poem about that made by John Donne is very interesting. I don't know why I like this poem so much. This is like the mystery of life. John died right on the date and month of my birth, exactly 370 years ago. Wow, as an addict to poetry, I am very touched to see this fact. Initially, the lecturer just told me to choose one poem out of dozens of poems in his course book. And this poem, entitled Death, is the last poem on the last page of the book that I accidentally opened the book from the last page. Wow, I became even more excited to reach out to one of my strange dreams as a poet. Alright, thank you so much, John Donne. Well, it is a quote by me. That is not the end of life. There is a new breath that will be born from the death, an eternal breath, which does not bend with time, grounding in pseudo is ignorance in deception. Life doesn't just talk about happiness in death, but one thing, life also doesn't talk about suffering. Life experience is a historical story that should be a legacy that is not swallowed by the times. John Donne and Christianity taught me and you not to fear death, because believe it or not, eternal life exists after death. Lampung, June 14th, 2020. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this video in this occasion. That is my opinion about That Be Not Proud by John Donne. Yeah, it was surprisingly when I know that That Be Not Proud by John Donne was a very wonderful poem ever, and I have been falling in love with it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have another opinion or analysis about this poem, please share your opinion in this comment box below. And if you have any question to ask to me, you can write in the comment box below, or you can send me an email. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I'm Hana Theresya Nisa. Goodbye and have a nice day.
It took me a minute to just give you my all, but you are there.
Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkst thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures speak, much pleasure than from thee much more must flow. And soon as our past men with thee do go rest of their bones and souls delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chains, guilt, and desperate man, and those with poison, war, and sickness drown. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and that shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die.
Been on this road